for us?
Sure am.
We'll start first with Susie Culber. Go ahead, Susie.
Hi, Andy.
Hi, Susie. How are you?
I'm good. I'll be out there at the stadium early on Sunday morning in the rain. Forecast right now is looking pretty rough for the whole day. Just wondering how you've covered that with the team, as you dot every I, cross every T, how that impacts the preparation even this week and game plan.
Yeah, so we talk about it, and we've kept them abreast of the weather forecast, which we always do before games, so they could just get out and test their shoes out and so on. So we practiced enough in the rain and played in the rain this year, so I think we're okay there.
Go next to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Coach, there are a lot of milestones that can be achieved here. I think it's the 8th franchise to go back-to-back. You'd be only the 10th franchise to win 3 Super Bowls. You've talked about your time yesterday of when you met Lamar for the first time. I'm just curious, do you ever have a moment where you think about the history or maybe people come up to you and tell you all the history that you guys are in the middle of right now?
Yeah, I'm aware of it because of the media, Sarin. But I'm old, so I've heard it before and seen it with my own eyes. So it's a neat deal. But when you're in the middle of it, I don't think you appreciate it as much. Maybe when you're done with the whole thing and you look back on it and you can appreciate it more. But we're just scrambling from one drill to another drill to a meeting to another meeting and making sure we get the media obligations taken care of and so on. So it's before you know it's the nighttime and it's time to go to bed.
Let's go next to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hello, Andy, from 12 minutes away from Arrowhead. How you doing?
All right, Harold. I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, quick question for you. I wanted you to kind of think back. I asked you before the season when you were talking to Patrick Mahomes during stretch, and I asked you about what you guys talked about now. What are those conversations with him like now as he goes into this second Super Bowl? And do you feel that he kind of has a semblance of idea of, legacy, and because that's been the big term this week, legacy and dynasty, and all those words have been thrown out there. You feel he gets a big sense of that, or is he just all about the moment?
Yeah, listen, I probably say the same thing I just said to Sarin, that it's I'm not sure how much you get caught up in that part of it as much as you do making sure that you have all the T's crossed and I's dotted. So that's where you're at. And if you get an extra minute, you watch a little bit more film, and then you make sure you're getting enough rest and eating the right things and so on. So your mind is on things that are going to directly affect the game at this time, and you want to try to maximize that, and that's what he does. So I don't think he's probably thinking too much about the other part. I'm sure he loves the challenge of playing against Tampa Bay. They're a good football team, and Tom Brady's a friend of his. So I think that somebody he looks up to. So I think that's kind of a neat deal for him. But I think when you really get down to what he's thinking about, and that's just making sure he's got the game plan down and ready to go.
Let's go next to Diana Rossini. Go ahead, Diana.
All right, well, this is it. I hope you're sick of us. I think you are, but thank you so much for being so great this week with us.
I know.
So much this week we've been asking you about the difference between this year and last year because of COVID, but familiarity is such a great advantage because you guys have done this. Have you sensed a different feeling from your guys, from your staff, from everyone who's been there with you before compared to last year when everything was new?
Yeah, it's a little bit different with the COVID part of it, but when you look at the itinerary for game day and go through that with the guys, and whether it's with the coaches and then the coaches and the players, it's relatively the same. So, and that's probably the toughest part about doing this whole process, is just trying to stay on schedule with what you've got to get done, and how are you going to manage that time at halftime? How are you going to manage the time before the game? When you come back out on the field, there's an extended period of time. How do you manage that? So, but the guys have already been through that before. we made sure we're covering it now, just to refresh them, and for the new guys, it would be something new. But that part I would tell you isn't much different.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Andy, two quick things for
Hi,
you.
Nate.
Just was the practice today the same as attendance as yesterday? That's my first one.
Injury wise, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Same exact deal. Yeah.
Got you. Thank you. And then secondly, what's been the most enjoyable part for you, Andy, to see the guys who didn't play in this game last year help the team push to make it back so that they could have their opportunities? Guys, whether they're rookies or guys like Andrew Wiley, Alex Okafor, Juan Thornhill, what's it been like to see?
Yeah, D. Williams came down to the game and hung out of practice. I mean, it was so he sat through the heat there of the practices we had and watched, and he was there every day. And so I think that's it's a neat deal for all those guys. And they've really, they've made a point of talking to people about it. They've also made a point of working hard so that they have an opportunity to show in this game.
Go next to Nancy Armour. Go ahead, Nancy.
Hey, Andy. Can you just describe the evolution maybe of Travis, both personally and professionally, and think back to, when you drafted him? I know you had the conversation with him and Jason just about your expectations. Has he met those or exceeded them, what you were kind of hoping when you guys drafted him?
Yeah, well, that was just more about how we roll with things and where he'd need to kind of get to stay with it. And so I would tell you that, he's matched it and exceeded that part. Football wise, you never know what you're going to get really until you have them there and they're doing it. So I tell you, he's greatly exceeded that, and he's trying to get better than what he is. So, which I appreciate. Yeah.
Next to Aaron Ladd. Go ahead, Aaron.
Coach, I'm stealing your words here, but you said I'm old, and most of my old head football coaches, when they get down right in the red zone, they're just going to run the ball. They're going to hand it off to their running back. But you guys, you're doing the shovel passes, the Ferrari package. Where does that evolution come from? Was there a point in time this season where you said we're just going to lean in on our talent and getting weird here?
Yeah, I mean, we try to have fun with it the best we can, and everybody contributes. I've got some really good coaches, assistant coaches. You guys know that. I've got players that have chipped in on plays, and they have a blast with it. And so I've always encouraged that throughout my career, and I don't want to stop because I'm old. I want to keep that going, try to do it a little bit better. And so that's what we do. We try to stay creative and try to have some fun with it. We don't really have much in this week, but that's all right.
We'll go next to Mark Potash. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, Andy. Excuse me. Coaching aggressiveness has been rewarded in these playoffs for a lot of teams, but especially for you. And I'm curious, how have you developed that feel over the years for when to be aggressive, when to play it safe, if there is such a thing as a feel? And is it any greater? Is that feel any greater now as a more experienced coach than when you were less experienced as a head coach?
Yeah, listen, I think with experience, you probably have a better feel for it. I just think naturally, I think you'd have a better feel for it. So I'd tell you yes on that. And then you got to make decisions. I mean, that's the seat that I sit in. And so if I feel like we need to stay aggressive, then that's where we go. And we try to do that all the way around on both sides of the ball. Spags does it, EB does it, Tove does it within reason, and all those guys are experienced guys, and they kind of we talk about it. It just kind of fits in with all our thinking.
Go next to Len Jennings. Go ahead, Len.
Hey, Coach. I'm just curious what your Saturday plans look like, and how does it compare to the Saturday before last year's Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it's similar. We just won't be there the whole day. We'll come down in the afternoon and we'll go through our normal procedure that we do on a road game. I mean, that's kind of the card that you're dealt here. So, and that's okay. We're good with that. We know that routine. We'll stick with it, and then we'll get ready for the game the same way that we do for an evening game, and nothing, that part won't change either. So we'll at least be familiar with that part. Yes.
Let's go next to Matt Tanner. Go ahead, Matt.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Matt.
I just wanted to ask you about Steve Spagnuolo. How important is he to the team's success, and has he made you reconsider any of your coaching philosophies?
Yeah, well, Steve's excellent. I think we know that. He was a head coach in this league, rightly so, and we'll probably get another shot at it here too, to do it again. So in the next few years. So he's got a great feel for the game, and yeah, we bounce things off of each other all the time. I mean, that's important. His experience is very valuable to really the whole offensive staff. And we all love talking football, so it's easy. It's easy conversation.
Let's go next to Steve Walls. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Andy, how are you doing?
Good, Steve.
Hey, I talked to a couple of your former players this week, and they both said the same thing. You are a player's coach, and guys will run through a wall for you. Do you feel that at all, or are you just kind of like in the moment?
Well, listen, I mean, I've been fortunate to have some really good guys, and that just love to play. I mean, that's a part I appreciate the most about these guys is, yeah, they're gifted, they work hard, they do all that, but the love of the game is something I appreciate. And so it's not hard to treat guys good when you have those kind of players that want to do that. I've been fortunate with the GMs that I've been with that have fed those kind of players into the program. So from a coaching standpoint, I enjoy coming to work every day. I love working with these guys. And I felt that same way when I was in Philadelphia. We just had good human beings that love to play. And I'm not even talking about talent, the talent aside. But you guys love playing the game.
Let's go next to Jeff Fedotin. Go ahead, Jeff.
Speaking of those former Eagles players, this week Terrell Owens was saying how much he's going to be rooting for you and the Chiefs. I know it ended turbulently with him, but what are your feelings about Terrell?
Yeah, so I like Terrell, and he's a competitive kid. He and Donovan had something really special, and wherever it is today, it is. But I mean, that was a special connection. I saw it when they were playing in the Pro Bowls. There was something. They just needed to look at each other, and they had this connection, and they carried that over to just have a fantastic year in Philadelphia, the year that we went to the Super Bowl. So I try to remember the good times. There were so many good times, and I focus on that. Things happen in this business, man, and I'm not a grudge holder. I've never been that way. And I've talked with him, and I'm close with Donovan. I'm close with him, and my wish would be that those two just bring it back together.
Got time for one more. We'll go last to Rob Collins. Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Coach. Happy to report that it's 62 degrees and sunny in Tampa, so you have that to look forward to when you get here.
Great. Good. Yep.
Bruce Arians this morning was talking about sticking to a routine and how critical it was during the Super Bowl, and obviously they're here and they're home, and you guys are back in Kansas City. I'm just wondering if you deviated at all from what you did last year, and how different is it for you guys?
Well, it's a bit different just because of the media setup. We were the home team, and we had the choice of when we could use the media and that. And so this is a bit different, just time-wise, but it actually fits right in with our normal schedule. So it hasn't been a big disruption at all.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Let me just say one thing. My heart goes out to the Schottenheimer family. Marty and I were close, and what a great person. He was great to me as a young football coach, and nobody did it better than he did. And I'm hoping we can mend them, but most of all, his family, they're staying strong. And I had a chance to talk to Brian last night, and I appreciated the conversation there. So, and my heart goes out to him. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
All right, guys, we'll have Travis Kelce on podium 9 next.